This video will demonstrate the integration of Cosi Insight with Microsoft Outlook. To start, I've clicked on the Cosi Insight tab on the top of Microsoft Outlook. Now there's a few options you have for importing and reading content that's been put into your content repository. For example, you can open an email that's been previously saved to the repository. You can also save an email and any of its attachments directly into the repository. And then if you don't want to save the email but just the attachments themselves, you can click on Save Attachment, and that'll just save the content of the email, whether it be a Word document or PDF or any file that was attached directly into your repository. And finally, if you just want to search, you can click on the search button here, and this will allow you to look for any content that's been previously imported. Now these features have been as part of Cosi Insight for a while, but what we've added recently is the ability to view the actual structure of your repository here. So now you can navigate through the folder structure and find the exact location where you'd want to put your content. This also allows you to interact with your content through Microsoft Outlook, which I'll show in a minute. But to get started, let's just demonstrate what it looks like to import an email. So I'm going to take this email and drag and drop it onto my engagement letters folder here. And when I do that, the import document window appears. And it does a few things automatically for you. So if you take a look at the content here, the attributes on the right, you can see that it's filled in a number of attributes based on its knowledge of where the document was dragged and dropped onto in the repository. So that'll really help accelerate the process of tagging content and getting things saved into the content repository. You also, as usual, have the ability to put in additional attributes, which can be optional, that a user can enter here just to make things a little bit easier to find later on. And this is completely configurable. We can decide what needs to be mandatory versus what needs to be optional. So when you're ready to do the import, you just click on the import button. Insight will also check to determine if that content has already been saved into the repository. It tries to help avoid the case where duplicate emails or documents are being saved into the repository. So if we want to save it, we can rename it, or we can choose to skip it if we don't want to import it. But in this case, I'm going to save it as a different name. I'll click rename, and then it'll go ahead and finish the import of that content. Now if I want to see the content, I can actually click on the engagement letters folder here, and it'll load all the content of that folder that's been saved into the repository so far. I could also click on any one of my documents here and see the properties of that document in the right window over here. This really gives you an easy way to manage content directly in Outlook without having to switch to another application. If you want to go back to your email, there's a simple button up here, a left arrow and a right arrow that you can use to switch back and forth between the inbox and your view of the content. So right now I'll click it to switch back to my email view. I can see all my emails again, and I can click on any email to see the content of that email. The last thing to mention is that the integration with the content repository that allows you to see these folders on the left has been completed without the use of a PST file. Now that's important for organizations who struggle with deploying PST files to a user's desktop. A lot of times those things are restricted so that users don't create their own personal mail folders. So we've been able to accomplish this integration without using a PST file, which will make it a lot easier to deploy in your environment. If you have any questions or would like more information about the Cosi Insight integration with Microsoft Outlook, please visit our website at www.cosiconsulting.com.